Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Maria, and today's video is a full face of nothing new products. The products that I'm going to use today I picked up quite a few months ago now, so I've used all of them and I really like them, but I never got time to do a dedicated video on each of them. So today I thought I would bring them all together and use them because I really like each product. I've already put my primer on. Recently I've been using the brand new, it's the Hourglass primer, which I absolutely love. But today, for a change, I thought I would use one of my other favourite primers, and it's the By Terry. This is the Hydra primer. I really love this too, and I don't think I've used this under the foundation that I'm going to use today. So I thought I would combine the two and see how they look. The foundation that I'm going to use today is a Guerlain one, and it is the High Perfection 24-hour wear. I got this in the colour 3 in natural. This has a SPF of 15 in it. It is made in France and it has 30 mils of product. Even though I've used it, I still have kept the original packaging so you could see what it's like. So I've worn this at least 4 or 5 times, and I think it is a really lovely foundation. I think it goes beautifully with oily skin. It says it is a velvety matte finish, which I would agree with. It says without a mask-like effect, and I would also agree with that too. It says naturally derived, skin protecting and beauty boosting ingredients. There are extracts from both tara and red algae gums, and cocoa bean extract, and also silk extract in here as well. So this is what the foundation looks like. It is in a really lovely bottle. It's quite unique. It has frosted glass and it's just a pull-off lid. Now the other day I used this again and I did 2 pumps, and that was a little bit too much. So what I do is a pump, and probably a pump and a half would do it. So that's what pump and a half looks like. It isn't an overly runny type of foundation, but you can see it start to slightly run down my hand there. So I'm going to put this on today with a beauty blender. I've used this with a brush as well. Both are really lovely, but the other day I put this on with a beauty blender and I just thought it looked really, really nice. So this blends in really, really easily. I think it does give a beautiful finish to the skin. I think it is a lovely looking foundation. And as I said, I think this is a great foundation for oily skin. I think those with normal skin could wear this as well. And possibly even people with dry skin, depending on how you prepare your skin before you put this on. But it doesn't go to a flat matte. It is exactly what they say. It has a velvety soft matte look. So that's with 1.5 pumps on. I think it gives a really beautiful finish. It has a strong medium finish. I would say this foundation is medium buildable to full coverage. I could certainly add more, and it does build really beautifully too. It covers my pores really well. I would say this has a good blurring effect. It doesn't settle in to my wrinkles or lines that I have, and I just think it gives a really beautiful look. It does feel velvety matte. It feels as though I need to put a dusting of powder on, which I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Sisley powder for that. I don't think I need a heavier powder. This wears really well even on warm days. It is autumn here in New Zealand now, but the last few days it's been really, really warm. Yesterday it hit 34 degrees here Celsius, which I think would be about 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit. So it's been really warm, and on one of those days I wore this foundation and it wore really, really beautifully. But like I said, I do give it a light dusting of powder. So I've now done my eyebrows. I've put on my eyeshadow primer. I've also powdered under my eyes using the By Terry pressed powder, and I did a light dusting of the Sisley powder. This is in shade 2 over my face, and I think that just gives a really beautiful finish. it doesn't make the foundation look too matte. I think it just gives a really soft, beautiful finish. And I think that the foundation looks really, really lovely. I think it is a really beautiful foundation. And the concealer that I put under my eyes today is the Sicily one. This is the Phyto Eclat one, and this is in shade 2. But everything that I'm putting on my face today will be linked in the description box below. The eyeshadow that I'm going to use is the Patrick Ta one. It is the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. This is a neutral lover's dream. So when New Zealand started stocking Patrick Ta, it was sometime last year, I picked up this palette straight away. Now I've used this quite a few times, at least 6 or 8 times, and it is really, really gorgeous. I know there's been a lot of videos on this already, but I'll still hold it up so you can take a look at the colour story. It really is a beautiful palette. There's some gorgeous shimmers and the mattes just blend beautifully. And I think there's a couple of topper shades in here too, or at least one. And the whole look is really beautiful. At the end of the palette here, there is a couple of cream type shades. I really haven't used them yet. If any of you have, let me know what you think of them. I just haven't sort of gravitated towards those, more towards the mattes, the shimmers, and the toppers. So I'm going to take the Sonia G Blender Pro, and I'm going to go into this shade here. It's a matte. It's the lighter shade. I'm just going to pop that all over my lid just to begin with. And normally before I do my eyeshadow, I do put on my bronzer first. But because it's all the bronzer and the blushes all in this one by Terry, the CC palette, I'm going to do that after my eyeshadow. So now I'm going to take the Rapha number 14, go into this shade here, and I'm just going to put that through my crease and slightly above. I did a look with this about a week ago now, and I did take it right up even the dark shades, and it looks really nice like that. But today I think I'm just going to keep it fairly simple. Then we'll take the soft shader using that same shade, and I am going to tap this out. There is a little bit of kick up with these powders, and I don't often tap my brush, but I do just before I put shadow under my eyes, because I have quite sensitive eyes and I just don't want any powder going in there. But if I ever do tap off my eyeshadow, I usually edit that part out, because I don't know, when I watch videos I find it really annoying if there's constant tapping of the brush and the palette. And with natural hair brushes, you've actually got to be very careful with tapping them. If you're constantly doing that, it can damage them up the ferrule, and you can start losing hairs out of your brush that way. So if you have to tap and you're using a natural hair brush, I would probably more do it on the side of your hand than on the palette. It is quite rough, and you just got to be careful with natural hair brushes, and they're usually fairly expensive. So it pays to look after them the best you can so they last a long time. I'm going to take the Sonia G, this is the mini booster. I'm going to go into this shade here. I don't think I've used this one very often. I'm not going to put a lot of this on. I'm just going to put a little bit in the outside crease. Then I'm going to take the Sonia G, this is the Worker 3. I'm going to go into this darkest shade and put some on the outer corner. I'm going to put that up just a little bit on the crease. I don't want to take it right up. Then using that same dark shade, I'm going to take the Rapha number 3 and I'm going to run that over my lower lash line. Then I'm going to take the Builder Pro, the Sonia G one, and I'm going to go into this shade here And I'm just going to put that through the inner corner and towards the centre. And then I've just wiped down the Rapha number 3, and I'm going to go into this shade here to put in my inner corner. This shade has a bit of sparkle in it, and it is really, really pigmented. So I find this quite good for putting in my inner corner. And then finally I'm going to go into this shade here. This is a topper, and I'm just going to go over all the shadows on my lid. I think it gives just a really pretty, just a very light sparkle. It's very light and it sort of gives an ethereal look. It's just really, really pretty. It's just the right amount of sparkle, really, really subtle and not glittery at all. Really, really lovely. So I think I will line my upper lash line using these shadows too. So what I'll do is I'll use this darker shade again. So I've now put my mascara on, and that is the finished look, and it is really pretty. They blend beautifully, and you can get quite a few different looks out of this as well. It's really gorgeous. I've also done it in the past when I've used it, the dark out here and also the dark right through here, and highlighted in the middle, and that looks really beautiful too. So now let's take a look at this by Terry. It's the CC palette, and this is palette number 2, and this one is in Beach Bomb. The by Terry has really beautiful packaging. You've probably seen it before, but it is really, really gorgeous. Now this is quite heavily scented, this palette. By Terry products tend to be like that. They are a really beautiful rose scent, and I don't mind them at all. What I do find is that though they can be a little bit strong when first applied, I think that the smell dissipates quite quickly. So it's not like you're going to have that smell lingering around all day. So inside are the 4 shades. There's sort of a highlighter. There's one I'll use as the bronzer, and also 2 blush shades as well. So I'll probably use both of the blush shades today. I'll just combine them both. And first I'm going to use the bronzer. I'm going to take the Sonia G. This is the Niji Pro, and go into the bronzer. So the bronzer has a slight sheen to it, but it is really lovely. I don't think that it tends to emphasize my texture at all, and they also blend really beautifully too. Then I'm going to take the Chukahodo brush. This is the F03, and I'm going to use both of these shades for a blush. I'm just going to go into each one really lightly. The blushes in this palette are really pigmented. I only really just tapped my brush in each one a couple of times to get that payoff. You can see that it does have that really lovely glow to it. There is a definite shimmer there. I'm going to add to that just to show you what this shade here is like. It's not a really bright colour, but I'm just going to put that on my cheekbones. So I think that this palette looks really lovely on. And there are a lot of people that aren't a fan of palettes like this. I am. I like face palettes or ones like this, especially when you go traveling, and I plan to do that next year. So these type of palettes and other face ones that I've got, they are going to be definites when I go traveling next year. And finally is lipstick, and as I was saying, none of these products are new releases, but this lipstick is fairly new to me, and it's the Guerlain. It's the Kiss Kiss, and this is in Floral Nude. This is like the perfect nude shade, And even though I've said in my other videos this year, I do want to wear more bolds, and I have been wearing a few more, even when I haven't been doing videos. But I do love it when I find a really beautiful nude lipstick. But first of all, I'm just going to line my lips. I'm going to use the Chanel. It's the Longwear Lip Pencil, and this is in Peachy Nude. So here is the finished look, and I think all together they look really, really lovely. The foundation still feels really beautiful. I just did that light dusting of powder, and I think that's really all I'll have to do for the rest of the day. And as I was saying, even though it is autumn here in New Zealand, today is going to be a really warm day as well, and this will wear really well. It is a beautiful foundation. The eyeshadow palette is beautiful. What a beautiful neutral eyeshadow palette with the different formulas in there. It's really beautiful. It blends really well, and it lasts really well throughout the day too. I find that when I wear this like 8 or 10 hours, it really looks just as good as when I've first put it on. And I understand that Patrick Ta is bringing out 2 new eyeshadow palettes, and if they become available here in New Zealand, I will definitely be picking both up. The By Terry CC Brightening Palette, the one in Beach Bomb, I think the bronzer and the blushes together, they give a beautiful sheen. It gives a really beautiful, healthy glow, and I think altogether it looks lovely. The lipstick is beautiful. What a gorgeous nude shade. It really just gives that your lips but better type of look, and because the formula isn't a matte, it has a little bit of gloss to it. It's just really, really beautiful. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.